What's up guys, FlamingVictini here, and today I've got for you a game from the quarterfinals of this year's World Cup. I of course am on US East, and my opponent Relous is on Team Germany. Now looking at the team matchup, I was very excited when I saw that my opponent was using Rain, because I've got a really good matchup against Rain. There's some obvious stuff, like for example, you see from my Doug Trio on T-Tar that my Charizard is probably Mega Charizard Y, which it is, so I've got Sun, I've got Sand from my T-Tar, I've got Scarf Keldeo, which can outrun Swampert in the rain and outrun basically everything except for Kingdra, and make use of the rain. And I've got Ferrothorn, which is also quite a good rain counter, and basically like every single mon I have is useful against rain, and is quite good against it. But there's one other attack that I have, HP Electric Zard Y. Now this is really neat. The thing that happens is if my Zard doesn't have HP Electric, then both Pelipper and Zard will counter each other, and it entirely depends on the weather. Now what do I mean by this? If Zard Y sets up Sun, Pelipper's not going to be a very sturdy answer to the Zard. But if the rain is up, then the Pelipper is going to destroy the Zard. I have to switch my Zard out. Pelipper can switch out. So basically it's a game of playing with the sun and the rain, and it can become very tricky. But I have HP Electric, which allows me to OHKO Pelipper and just completely remove rain from the game, which is really good for me. So I'm really looking to win this with Zard. I want to be very careful about showing HP Electric prematurely in case he decides to make a play I don't expect in the early game. Feel him out a little bit and then go bam for the move. So I'm going to lead off with my Zard because it threatens his team hugely. If he leads Pelipper, then I have the Mega Evolution to get Sun and I can just go straight for a Fire Blast. I could have also gone for a Solar Beam, but I wasn't sure if he was wanting to try to pivot with like Ferrothorn or something of the sort, so I just... Oh, sorry, Flamethrower. Yeah, I forgot I'm using Flamethrower on this team. So I go for a Flamethrower. Now, I switch out to Mew because I don't want to get Draco Meteored, as Relous switches to his Pelipper. This gives me a chance to just switch back into Zard Y and set up the Sun again, as he does go for the U-turn, indicating he's most likely not a choice spec set, and he does go back to Kingdra while the Sun's up. Now, I'm actually going to go to Ferrothorn this time. The reason I went Mew the first time is just in case he had HP Fire Kingdra. I wanted to kind of be careful for that. And so I go to my Ferrothorn as he goes to his own Ferrothorn. Now, right here, I go to my Zard. Now, the whole time I was thinking this thing might have T-Wave, because sometimes rain teams run that. It's not very common. And it turns out he does actually have T-Wave and he misses me. So perhaps I think maybe I could have been a little more aggressive early on in the game, but again, I didn't want to stay in an HP Electric Kingdra as it chose to stay in and Draco Meteor me, so that's why I felt like it was best to switch out, play it safe, and try to get my Zard in on the Ferrothorn. And I figured that even if I did get T-Waved, once the Zard is in on the Ferrothorn, he's gonna switch to Pelipper, and that's the perfect time to HP Electric, knock it out, and take it from there. So he misses the T-Wave, which is convenient for me, and I'm going to go straight for the HP Electric and completely knock out his Pelipper, which is just absolutely amazing. So he goes to his Swampert. He's got his Rain up, so I want to get his Zard in and out to set the Sun back up. But he's going to go to his Swampert and go for the Stealth Rocks. I can't really pressure Swampert without my Sun, because of course Solar Beam is weakened and will take 2 turns. So I'm just going to go to my Ferrothorn as the safest move. Now right here is the start of something important. Now, it's worth noting, at this time my Ferrothorn had Protect, because I felt like I didn't need Knockoff, but in hindsight I think Knockoff would have been really nice to have available to me, because it would have helped me beat that Ferrothorn without having to rely on my Zard or my Mew, and also it would have helped me with this Magearna. Now I missed the Power Whip, and this is actually important because now I have less information about this Magearna set. If I Power Whip and I see that he gets Leftovers Recovery, I know for sure it's it's a Shift Gear Calm Mind set, Double Dance as people like to refer to it. And I know that if it doesn't get that Leftovers Recovery, it's most likely Shift Gear Z move. It could still be Bolt Beam, or sorry, I don't know why I keep saying Bolt Beam. It could still be Dual Dance, like Shift Gear Calm Mind, but perhaps with Electrium Thunderbolt, Z Thunderbolt. Or it could be Assault Vest, but that's less likely because I feel like on a team like Relous, Magearna is most likely to be a Swift Swim Sweeper. So I missed the Power Whip, and that kind of hides some information on this Magearna. So now I have to decide what do I really need to do to handle this Magearna. Now, I figured that most dual dance Magearnas won't be able to break Ferrothorn because most of them are Bolt Beam, and Ferrothorn is a pretty decent check to them. And if it's 3 attacks, then Mew should be able to beat it. This is the way I kind of theoried the situation. However, my gut response was still to go to Keldeo against this Magearna, because Keldeo outspeeds the Magearna after Shift Gear, which he's likely going to go for now. And okay, Keldeo outspeeds the Magearna after Shift Gear, but the other thing is, like, it helps me get information about the Magearna set because it forces him to attack right away. Now, the thing I was worried about going to Keldeo on the Shift Gear Magearna is I was really worried that if this Magearna was a 3 attack set, it just knock out my Keldeo and get the Soul Heart boost and proceed to sweep through my team if he has coverage such as Focus Blast, Thunderbolt, and Z Flare Cannon, which is what I was really worried about. So I ended up deciding not to go to Keldeo. But one thing I forgot to realize is that Thunderbolt from the Shift Gear Magearna without any boost will not OHKO my Keldeo. And a Flare Cannon will OHKO it, but it'll cause its special attack to decrease rather than increase, and if he burns his Z Flare Cannon on my Keldeo, then my Mew will be able to take 1, because it's very specially defensively invested, and I will still be able to beat the Magearna. So I should have gone hard Keldeo in this turn, but this is the start of a big mistake. I decided to go Mew, thinking, oh yeah, my Mew can answer this Magearna, no problem. So he goes for the Shift Gear, and okay, I'm a little worried. He goes for the Calm Mind, and this is, I go for the default because I want to get my Zard healthy. I know my Zard can check a non-T-Bolt Magearna, and I want to be able to set up Sun, and I also wanted to make sure that if he was a 3 attack set and he decided to go for Z Flare Cannon on that turn and then Flare Cannon follow up, that I wanted to be able to ensure that I got my default, because I knew I'd need that for the later stage of the game. I was trying to think beyond this Magearna, but again, the way I handled this Magearna was quite dangerous. So now he's gotten 2 Calm Mind boosts and the Shift Gear boost. I go for the Will-O-Wisp to burn him, but due to the burn nerf, it's basically doing nothing. And as we'll see on the next turn, he is carrying the leftovers, and the burn essentially gained me absolutely nothing. I mean, it loses him some recovery, but that's basically it. Now I go to my Ferrothorn, and this was a very big mistake. I think if I went to Tyranitar instead, I still might have had a chance in this game. I go to my Ferrothorn thinking, oh, it's a Bolt Beam Calm Mindset. My Ferrothorn could take it. I could set up a Leech Seed, Protect, start healing up and wearing down this Magearna that can go T-Tar, and it'll be fine. But what I should have done is just gone straight to T-Tar, because I have Earthquake to threaten this Magearna, and if it's Bolt Beam, it won't be able to do that much damage to my T-Tar since I'm very bulky T-Tar. So, and if he had Focus Blast, as it turns out he has, then I don't lose my Ferrothorn, which I need for the later stage of the game. So he goes for a Focus Blast, and now I'm in a really tough spot. The Rain also wears down, so now my Keldeo is doing damage to a plus 2.5 SpDef Magearna without Rain, so I have to go for a Secret Sword, not really doing as much damage. Whereas if I was in Rain and I'd switched in when he used Shift Gear, I would have done 70% with Surf and maybe knocked him out with Hydro Pump. And I would have learned information about his set right away, which would have been really, really great. So going Keldeo again was definitely my best play. So I go Keldeo, I go for the Secret Sword as he goes for Focus Blast and hits. Now I know at this point that he shows Flare Cannon. I wasn't sure what his last coverage move on the Magearna was, but now he shows its Flare Cannon, and things are looking very, very rough. So what am I going to do? I'm going to go to Charizard Y to bait another Flare Cannon, since I will die to a 3 times Flare Cannon. I'm going to go Dugtrio to get him to Flare Cannon and reduce the special attack. He misses the Flare Cannon, but he decides not to go for the Focus Blast. He does Flare Cannon me and takes out my Dugtrio, so now my Dugtrio's gone. And I'm left to only my Zard and my Mew. So yeah, this is looking very, very rough. However, it's still doable, because my Mew can beat a large majority of his team, and so can my Zard. So I'm going to go for the Flamethrower and knock out his Magearna as I live that Flare Cannon, and now his Kingdra comes in. So His Kingdra is in. I can't roost with my Zard because he can just Draco Meteor me, so I have to go Mew, and my Zard stays weakened. Now, his Ferrothorn is a Stealth Rocks user, but my Mew has Defog. His Ferrothorn does have T-Wave, though, so it's going to be able to paralyze my team. And one thing I need to be wary of is I need to make sure that he can't paralyze my Mew before I burn his Ferrothorn. If I can burn his Ferrothorn before, that can put me in a significantly better position than if we share T-Waves. The other thing I need to be very careful of is that Dugtrio. I feel like my Mew can beat his team if I don't get paralyzed too often, but if that Dugtrio is a Screech Tectonic Rage set with Substitute to block the Will-O-Wisp, I can be put into a very tricky position. Now, it's been a while since I last played this game, but I think I learned what his set was, and I think it was Screech. I feel like it was Screech. I don't remember what his Dugtrio set was, but I remember that it was possible for my Mew to beat it. But I switched to my Mew, and he goes for the Draco Meteor and crits me and knocks me out. So yep, that's the game, pretty much. And really the big lesson in this game is you really got to be very, very careful with how you deal with Magearna. My Sun wears out that turn, so I can't even Solar Beam and kill the Swampert, and maybe I should have just used Solar Beam. I think his Dugtrio is unable to touch my Charizard. It doesn't have Toxic. I remember that much at least. It doesn't have Toxic. I think it's like Sub-Reversal or something. I think it's Sub-Reversal because I remember it didn't have a way to touch my Zard. So if I Solar Beamed and then maybe if Kingdra like missed all its moves or something, I mean, it probably has Surf, so that's not going to happen. But yeah, I needed my Mew to have any shot of pulling out in the end of the game. I got crit, but I think at that point I was in a very, very deep hole, and it all came down to how I chose to handle that Magearna. That one turn, that one wasted turn, well, not just one wasted turn, but that decision to go to Mew instead of Keldeo really just completely crushed my chances. And also that decision to lose T-Tar before losing Pharaoh, and like not really like judging how I need to deal with this Magearna as quickly as I could. Just a really big mistake. Like, you saw how I went Ferrothorn, then I went T-Tar and gave it an extra boost. If I had stent with T-Tar, saw it get Focus Blasted, I would have gone straight to Zard, and it would have been fine. I would have been able to keep my Dugtrio, I would have been able to keep my Ferrothorn. Instead, I sacked my Ferrothorn and my T-Tar, which gave him an extra boost. So I was forced to sack my extra Dugtrio to make him lose that extra boost, and it was just a huge mess. And it all could have been avoided if I just gone Keldeo and just thought a little bit more smartly about the Magearna. Now, the reason why I kind of fell apart to this Magearna is I was too confident in that it would be Bolt Beam if it was Calm Mind, and I didn't consider the possibility that it would have Focus Blast and Fleur Cannon, which ended up matching up really well against my team. I was prepared to handle the Magearna with Mew and Ferrothorn, and I wasn't thinking that it might be a set that could just completely destroy both of them, when most of the time such Magearna sets can't. So that's really, this game was really what opened my eyes to just how dangerous Magearna is, because nothing counters every set it can run. Magearna can run so many different things with the combinations of Calm Mind and various different coverage moves. It can be, taking it down can be a totally different game. It can depend on dodging the Z move at the right moment, or being able to wear it down as it's getting leftovers recovery turn after turn. And it can just be incredibly difficult to take down. So yeah, this is really eye-opening game to me, that even when things are looking really good, you gotta be really, really sharp in how you play. You gotta be planning for every situation. So yeah, anyway, that's the game. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys later.